Hello and welcome to News Central Television with me, Blessings Musugu. The top stories at this hour. 1 year after Supreme Court ruling, local governments still await direct funding. Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission warns ballot box snatching will lead to by-election. Kenya approves new officials to lead electoral body amid political tensions. We have the details in a moment. We begin with judicial matters. 1 year after the Supreme Court's landmark ruling granting full financial autonomy to Nigeria's 774 local governments, the judgment is yet to be enforced. Despite the court's directive stopping state governments from controlling council funds, allocations are still not being paid directly. The July 2024 ruling followed a suit by the federal government seeking to end decades of state interference. A 10-member committee was set up to enforce the decision, but political and bureaucratic delays have allegedly stalled progress. Also, the central bank's demand for 2 years of audited reports has further delayed implementation. Civil society groups, lawyers, Algan and Nolge are now urging the Tinubu administration to act swiftly and enforce the ruling without further delay. And now joining me to discuss the implications of the delay and the disobedience of the Supreme Court ruling on local government autonomy in Nigeria is a lawyer, Todimo Ige. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. All right, so Todimo Ige, can you, or let me paraphrase and say, can state governments be held in contempt of court for continuing to control local government funds despite the Supreme Court's directive?
Yes, when the court has given a directive, when the court has given an order, all parties who are subject of that court action are bound by the instructions and the order of the court. So to answer your question, simply, Sita, if the state governments, any state government is liable or refusing to enforce the order of court, then they can be held in contempt.
So is the federal government legally obligated to enforce the ruling? And what legal remedies exist if it fails to do so?
Now, the federal government was the one that went to court, and ordinarily, there has been a lot of back and forth. 1 year is more than long enough to enforce a judgment of the court. It goes a long way to talk about the kind of country we run when we don't obey the rule of law, because any society that does not obey the rule of law is an invitation to anarchy. 1 year is more than enough, and I believe that somebody somewhere is not doing their job, because if you are saying that 1 year there's one bureaucracy or the other to more than a year, that's unfair, and I think that the federal government ordinarily should enforce this judgment. As a matter of fact, the Attorney General of the Federation once said that anyone that does not comply with the order of court would be tried for treason. 1 year after, nobody has been tried. Nobody has lost their job. No enforcement of this judgment. And I believe that this is very wrong. And we must begin to walk the talk of the rule of law and enforce valid orders of court.
So what does this delay say about the strength and the enforceability of Supreme Court judgments in Nigeria's democratic system?
Well, as it stands in situations like this, ordinarily, when the court has given a judgment, the onus lies on the party who has gone to court to ensure that there is compliance. If there is no compliance to the order of court, then the winner at the court can actually apply to the court to enforce the judgment. If the judgment is not complied with, then you can actually apply to try the other party for contempt of court. Because if you don't obey an order of court, it's contempt. And of course, there are adequate provisions under our law to ensure that the order of court is complied with. If it is not complied with, such parties and individuals can be tried for contempt on court, and they can be thrown in jail for that.
So, does the Central Bank of Nigeria have the legal authority to impose additional conditions like audited accounts before complying with the judgment?
Well, you know, as it stands, the CBN is also a statutory body, and ordinarily to do its job, yes, there's a court judgment that says that this must be done. However, to do the needful to ensure compliance, he also has his practice direction. They can actually say, yes, we desire to have an audited account so that we can know how these monies are spent. But it doesn't mean that. It doesn't give them the power to overturn or override a valid order of court. If it needs clarification, if the other parties that desire the enforcement can actually go to court to say, oh, we need an interpretation. Does the CBN have the right or power to withhold these funds because they desire an audited account? So, we can't just sit down and begin to rely on sentiments. The courts is the appropriate place to ask. Nobody has a right to say, oh, I won't do this, I'll do that. You must go to court if you need an interpretation, or else compliance is sacrosanct. That is how we can grow our society. That is how the rule of law can thrive.
So what options are available to local government or their associations like Algon or NORD to compel compliance with the court ruling?
Number one, I would suggest strongly that the local governments could actually reach out to the court or file an action for contempt to say that the order of court has not been complied with and there should be sanctions.
All right, Todi Muige, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on this. We appreciate your time. Meanwhile, former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Adoke, has made public controversy surrounding the sale of OPL 245 oil block during the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, which sparked a frenzy of controversies, including international litigation. Adoke, during the public presentation of his new book, OPL 245 Inside Story of the $1.3 billion Nigerian oil block, which held in Abuja, unveiled inside details in oil dealings, which led to reactions across the country. Now, he says that the book provides clarity on the issue, bringing an end to years of investigation and speculations of the event that transpired, which led to his prosecution by subsequent government.
His new book, OPL 245, The Inside Story of the $1.3 billion oil block, is a recollection of events that still stir debate. These debates unfold in boardrooms and newsrooms. They echo through political cycles and around dinner tables. In his own words, he was bloodied but unbowed.
It is important to assure you all that I did not set out to denigrate anyone, but to set the record straight and provide valuable insights into a transaction that was not only carried out in furtherance of the national interest, but also to safeguard Nigeria's economic interests as it relates to the exploitation of our hydrocarbon resources. The Chinese proverb to the effect that the faintest ink is better than the strongest memory aptly reinforced the reliability of written records over human memory.
Many of us here may recall that shortly after the administration of President Jonathan came to an end in 2015, the succeeding government launched what many people saw as a manhunt against key officers of the President Goodluck's administration. The author of this memoir, Mr. Bello Adoke, was the Attorney General of the Federation at that time. He was hunted across the globe, but today he's alive, he's healthy, he's here to tell his story.
Well, this book, to me, is not simply a retrospective on a deal. It is a personal testimony from someone who held public trust and bore institutional responsibility during a turbulent and legally fraught moment in our nation's oil and gas sector.
Now let's turn our attention to election matters. The Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission says any case of ballot box snatching during Saturday's local government elections will trigger a by-election in the affected area. LASIEC chairperson Justice Bola Okikiolu Igile made the announcement during a press briefing on Thursday, assuring residents of the Commission's readiness to conduct free, fair and credible elections across all 57 local councils. She also confirmed there's no threat of postponement, adding that all logistics and security arrangements are in place. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Police Command has announced a restriction on movement across the state on Saturday, July 12th, to ensure peaceful conduct of the polls and to prevent any disruption of the election process. Now, in the meantime, ahead of Saturday's local government elections in Lagos, Commissioner of Police CP Olorundare Jimoh says over 30,000 police personnel will be deployed statewide to ensure security. He revealed this during a pre-election briefing, noting that the deployment includes 20,000 officers from the Lagos Command and an additional 10,000 approved by the Inspector General of Police. Now, coverage extends to all 13,325 polling units across the 20 local government areas and 33 LCDAs. Now, Jimoh outlined a three-phase security plan: pre-election, election day, and post-election, with tactical teams, marine police, and armed intervention squads on standby. While officers at polling units will be unarmed, armed units will be nearby. A show of force was also conducted to reinforce public confidence. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it will introduce a portal where associations seeking to be political parties can register. In a statement on Thursday, Sam Olumekun, INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, said the Commission has received further updates on additional requests from associations seeking registration as political parties. Olumekun said 7 more applications have been received since last week, bringing the total to 129, adding that all the requests are being processed. It's time now to go on a short break, and when we come back, Minister of Foreign Affairs Tuga rejects pressure to accept Venezuelan deportees. We have the details shortly. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, the Federal Capital Territory Admission has apprehended 210 beggars under its Operation Sweep Abuja of migrants, street beggars, traders, scavengers, and other criminal elements, which commenced on Monday. Acting Director of Social Welfare in the FCTA, Gloria Onwuka, disclosed this in Abuja on Thursday at the end of day 4 of the exercise. Now, Onwuka said that the operation was in line with the directive of the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike. She said that the beggars who were caught in the act in different locations were being profiled and will be deported back to their various states. In the heart of Nigeria's capital, beyond the glamour of government buildings and high-rise estates, everyday residents of Abuja face a growing challenge, getting from one point to another. From Gwagwalada to Nyanya, from Kubwa to Kuje, for thousands of residents in Nigeria's capital, transportation is a daily test of patience, resilience, and cost. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports on the daily transportation struggles of the average Abuja commuter. In the meantime, we have Bettina Nweli standing by, after which we'll take this report. News Central's correspondent Bettina Nweli, who's joining me now to give an update on the traffic situation in Abuja. Bettina, it's good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Blessings. It's good to see you too. Currently, I am here at Banex Taxi Park in Abuja, and I can tell you that commuting from one spot to the other in Abuja has become quite a chore. A lot of residents and transporters alike have been complaining about the numerous issues that they have to face when it comes to commuting within the Abuja municipal. And I took to the streets today to speak to them to find out what really is the problem with commuting within the Abuja municipal. We have a few people here who will speak to us about what the transport situation is like for them, what the challenges are, and how they hope the government can step in to be able to mitigate what is currently going on in Abuja. Good afternoon, sir. All right, sir, please tell us your names and what you do for a living.
Okay, my name is Innocent Bimbo. I am a transport worker.
All right, Mr. Innocent, tell us, what are the major challenges that you face in the line of your career?
Okay, rightly, the challenges is that, you know, we are facing organization and corruption problem. I summarize it that way because here, government has not given us any official park that this is a park. So we are operating by the roadside. There are organized people who came by, you know, to arrest cars sometimes and say we are parking illegally. Yeah, that's one. And the second one, we have the issue of, okay, the government says that in FCT they approve the kind of taxi they want, which is grade 1 grade. And now those taxis now cannot access estates, government offices and the rest. When they took you for drop, you cannot go for that because you are on a painted taxi. You understand? So we are mixed up. We have color taxis and then we have registered under union with color. And the same government will come sometimes and arrest and make claims of, you know, private cars doing taxi. Sometimes they bring allegation of kidnapping and the rest that these cars are, you know, painted. You understand? Then majorly again, we have issue of the fuel, which everybody know, that has drastically reduced the cost of reduce our business because some people cannot afford to pay transport again. Of course, when they increase fuel, of course, transport workers will increase, you know, cost of transportation. Then, you know, it has now stopped people from coming out. We are witnesses in both areas where you are coming out. Some people who afford to go to work 2 or 3 times in a day. You understand? It has reduced our business. Yes. Then we know that, just like I said, there's a government intervention by they introduce CNG, which of course we appreciate. They give, I think, most of our drivers free CNGs. You understand, to install. But the issue we have with the CNG is that we have problem with availability. We have problem with, you know, the installment. We think from my experiences, just people who are trained between 2-3 months, and then they will install that thing for you. You either spoil your car, or they will not get it right. I am a practical example. I've not used it for 1 day. It's still in my car. They install it for me. And then my car, because they didn't install it very well, it has electric problem. I spend a lot of money before I get it back to work. And up to now, it could not work. Because I think those people were just trained. They were not trained properly on how to install those things. So it affects engine sometimes, you know, when you own them. My car started shorting when I started using it. So that was supposed to be, you know, to reduce cost of transportation. But because we didn't get it right, then, most drivers now still resort to using, petrol. You understand? Yeah.
All right, so for Mr. Innocent, the major issues that he has to face are task force, the cost of fuel, and also the inability of CNG workers to actually fix the CNG properly into his vehicle. We have another driver here who wants to speak to us on the challenges that they have regarding transportation here in Abuja. Please come, sir. We'll take this one before I get back to the studio to meet Blessings. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Please face the camera. Tell us your name.
My name is David Amuta.
All right, Mr. David, what are the major challenges you face as a transporter?
There are a lot of challenges we face, especially when it comes to maintenance of vehicle. The cost of maintaining a vehicle is on the high side, and which affects so many drivers, especially buying tires, changing of engine oil. That is just for the vehicle. And then another thing is where to park and carry passenger is another challenge. And even the passenger themselves is another challenge because of the cost of transportation. Buying of fuel also is another problem. And the CNG issue is another serious problem because there's no way drivers can get gas at a convenience. So it's another major challenge that affects the drivers. So if the government can come in, open more gas stations that will alleviate the sufferings of the drivers, it will bring down the cost of transportation.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, so you have it there, Blessings. Major complaints from the people on the streets. The cost of fuel needs to come down. They also need the government to make sure that the CNG that has been brought in as an alternative is being done properly. And the mechanics who are in charge of CNG are trained properly so that they don't damage people's vehicles, amongst others.
That, and we're looking forward to seeing an improvement in the transport sector. Thank you once again. Now to more stories. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, says the United States is pressuring African nations to accept Venezuelan deportees, a move he says would be difficult for Nigeria to comply with. Tugar, in a recent interview, warned that agreeing to such a request could set a troubling precedent. He also clarified that the recent 10% U.S. tariff hike on Nigerian goods may not be linked to President Bola Tinubu's engagement with BRICS nations. Addressing America's new visa rules, Tugar dismissed claims that they are based on reciprocity, stating Nigeria already offers 90-day visas, just like the U.S., and has introduced e-visas to speed up processing. Now, over 1 year after the introduction of National Education Fund for undergraduates of public tertiary institutions in Nigeria, some students say they're yet to believe that the program is real. Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umudike, was among the institutions in the southeast that keyed into the program earlier. But in this report by Chinwe Ugele in Umuahia, the students seem to be singing discordant tunes. The report.
After about 7 months of declaring that some tertiary institutions in Nigeria have successfully accessed the National Education Loan Fund, aimed at easing the burdens of tuition fees and allowances of students, some say they are yet to see who has benefited from the scheme.
When we had that, I was still in school. I applied for it, but it didn't work. So I don't believe that it works. Some people posted it online that they are receiving their alerts or something else. But when I did mine, I didn't see anything like no fund.
I haven't seen someone say I got the nail fund this. I haven't seen, so I can't say that it's going on till I see or witness it myself.
I didn't know about it. I don't know. And I have not known anyone that applied and got the money or paid the school fees through that nail fund.
Others are not sure the program is real and will rather not apply for the loan, no matter how promising it looks. The Dean of Student Affairs at Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umudike, Professor Raphael Iheke, explains that over 6,000 students of the university are currently benefiting from the students' loan.
And we've been encouraging them to get in to NEL Fund, because that is one good thing that the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done for Nigerian students. Gone at the time that a student can complain that he's not able to pay his or her school fees. And it's an interest-free loan, as you may know. And the repayment is such that it's only 2 years post-NYSC, provided you have a job. And the repayment schedule is only 10% of your salary.
He says part of the challenges some of the students encounter in trying to access the fund stems from their backgrounds.
That I said, it may interest you to know, our people, because sometimes they are skeptical about loans. I know of a student who was successful in NAL Fund. He was paid. The parents were on him. Go and refund that money. We don't want such loan.
Students are scared of loans, and the policies attached to the NEL Fund. I'm scared too.
There are some students who, however, testify that the funds are being enjoyed by those who applied.
I have friends that are benefiting from it. I haven't applied yet.
It will not be out of place to conduct more awareness programs for more less privileged students to apply for the loan and be included in the scheme. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
Now, young Nigerian innovators took center stage in Abuja at the Next Gen Innovation Challenge 2025, spotlighting groundbreaking ideas from across the country. The event, organized by the National Board of Technology Incubation in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, focused on transforming local raw materials into globally competitive products under the theme, Igniting Innovation, Shaping the Future. News Central's correspondent Sumaya Abubakar reports.
From energy solutions to agro-processing, including tech-driven manufacturing, this innovative challenge attracted young inventors determined to position Nigeria as a hub of innovation. The exhibition featured prototypes, product demonstrations, and inspiring success stories of how homegrown ideas can fuel economic transformation.
The Nigerian First policy is a clarion call to prioritize local solutions for local and global challenges. It is an affirmation that Nigerian ideas matter, Nigerian products are valuable, Nigerian innovators deserve to lead. You now operate in an ecosystem that is deliberately being shaped to favor you.
Innovation is no longer on the periphery of government. It is the heart of national development. That is why we are investing in digital transformation, expanding access to science and technology education.
Participants unveiled a wide range of creative solutions aimed at addressing real-life challenges, showcasing the talent, resilience, and ingenuity of Nigeria's youth. For many, the event is more than a platform to exhibit ideas. It is a critical opportunity to gain exposure, access support, and contribute to national growth through innovation.
They're implementing a solar tracking system which is dynamic, which is better than our normal convenient static solar panels, because of as it's tracking the soil intensity, it's able to capture more energy in a lesser time.
Being able to showcase our innovative solutions shows that we can actually solve many of the problems in Nigeria, and giving us this platform also shows that we can move from importing these solutions to creating our own local and engineered solutions in order to solve our problem.
With ideas like this gaining national attention, the Next Gen Innovation Challenge is proving that the future of Nigerian industry and development may already be here, and it is young, bold, and homegrown. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now, health facilities in Nigeria are supposed to be sanctuaries of healing. However, exclusive video obtained by News Central Television has revealed the sorry state of toilets in one general hospital in Abuja. Patients who have used the antenatal ward of the Kashi General Hospital, a tertiary health facility located at the Kashi satellite community, say the condition is a danger to mothers and infants and puts their lives at risk. News Central's correspondent Aisha Saliu brings us more on this.
Kashi General Hospital is one of the few public health facilities in Abuja serving the growing suburban population. But, like many others, it struggles with understaffing, inadequate sanitation supplies, and unreliable water supply. This exclusive footage reveals the state of sanitary conditions at the hospital. Christiana Uyi, who recently had a baby at the hospital, describes the state of the toilets as alarming, unusable, and a danger to mothers admitted into the maternity wards of the hospital.
I actually gave birth through CS, and so the first night I was unable to do anything. I was helpless. But when I got my consciousness and I wanted to make use of the restroom, I asked where the restroom was, and so they directed me. When I got there, I don't even know what to say. When I got there, the way the place was an eyesore.
According to the World Health Organization, hospital-acquired infections account for a significant percentage of maternal and neonatal death in sub-Saharan Africa. Experts say poor hygiene in natal or postnatal wards increases the risk of maternal and neonatal infections, conditions that are preventable with the right investment in basic facilities, as improving hospital hygiene is not a luxury but a life-saving necessity.
For mothers who visit
unhygienic, places of convenience, the likelihood that that kind of mother might be on a catheter is there. So there is a chance that the woman might develop urinary tract infection from the catheter, because you are not expected to move anyhow or walk around anyhow, especially to places that are not hygienic with your catheter on. So you might have, ascending infection too from maybe contact with the toilet seats. Ascending infection could lead to PID, that's pelvic inflammatory disease. So some of these things could happen, and it could be detrimental to the health of the woman.
With no hope of an improvement in sight, many patients at the hospital are forced to seek alternative options or brave the consequences of using the broken down and poorly maintained infrastructure at these health facilities.
I had to start going to another toilet that is like far from the toilet that they recommended for people who are in the ward. That one is like outside the hospital. I had to start going that far to go and ease myself for the 3 days I spent in that hospital.
I want to also say that the government should just improve on the facilities, improve on rehabilitating, developing or building better infrastructures for health workers so that they can practice safe medicine according to the global standard or procedures.
Attempting to get reactions from authorities at the Hospital Management Board has proven a difficult task. Officials who refused to speak on camera told News Central Television that an investigation will be carried out as part of their quarterly checks at health facilities in the FCT and promised a lasting solution. The question is, when will these be effected? In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Now, President of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has cast doubt on the revival of Nigeria's state-owned refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna, describing them as economically unviable, despite consuming over $18 billion. Dangote said efforts to revive the aging facilities amount to modernizing 40-year-old technology. He also said over 50% of output from his 650,000 barrels per day refinery is dedicated to petrol, far higher than the government refineries. Dangote's remarks echo earlier comments by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who said the NNPC could not manage the refineries. Now, industry groups are now urging the government to privatize the facilities or scrap them entirely and support modular refining instead. Now, to speak more on the Aliko Dangote's remarks about Nigeria's state-owned refineries and their broader implications, I'm joined by investment banker Nemeka Obiarari. Thank you so much, Nemeka Obiarari, for joining us. Now, from an investment standpoint, Nemeka, what does Aliko Dangote's statement signal about the viability of Nigeria's state-owned refineries?
There is nothing that Aliko Dangote said that most of us have not been saying over the last 10 years. Those refineries are actually a cesspit of corruption, cesspit of iniquity, cesspit of irresponsibility on the part of the government. Obasanjo is a very strong and knowledgeable man. Obasanjo was, first of all, head of state between 1976 to 1979. Within those 3 years, Obasanjo built a brand new refinery, so he's in a better position to know one of those refineries. Obasanjo was president for 8 years. He knew how much he wasted on those refineries. That was why in 2007, before he left office, he privatized it and sold 60% of those refineries to the Blue Star Consortium, then led by Aliko Dangote, Femi Otodola, and some of the corporate czars. If those privatizations had been allowed to stay, if Yar'Adua had not reversed those sales, we won't be where we are today. From 2017 now, the same thing. The only thing that will make those refineries to work is to privatize it. I have said it, and I'll repeat it again. If time permits me, I will share with you what they will do. Unbundle those refineries, value them, put them in a bucket. Get core investors, local downstream operators, sell 30% to them, 10%. Sell the remaining those shares to Nigerians. Now, let me tell you what will happen. Port Harcourt is 250,000 barrel combined capacity. Warri is 125,000. The new investors will collocate new refinery within the facilities that's existing there. To do a new 160,000 barrel refinery will take about 8 billion. So with the facilities there, half of the money will be enough to establish new one there. We've said it here, energy cost, energy efficiency, energy pricing. If we want to reduce energy costs, we know what to do. Under this arrangement, we have enough refining capacity to take care of local consumption. Dangote and the rest can be exporting. Basically, there is a crude component attached to this refineries, 445,000 barrels a day. We also have a lot of marginal fuels that we can allocate to that refinery under this special arrangement, SPV, cost production with margin of 30%. If they do it under this arrangement, we will sell petroleum products in Nigeria, white petroleum products within Nigeria at a cost that is not more than 600 naira per liter across all the white petroleum product spectrum, irrespective of whatever happened in the global commodity market, whether going up or coming down. They know what to do. But the problem is that none of the governments after Obasanjo have had the courage and sincerity to do what is right. Aliko is right. Even if you leave those refineries within the next 5 years, nothing will happen. So it's not just those refineries. If we want NNPC and the petroleum sector to work, we need to go the way of the Brazilians. Look at NNPC. It's owned 100% by the public sector, Federal Ministry of Finance, Federal Ministry of Petroleum. Unbundle it. Sell down 70% of the federal government shareholding on NNPC to 30% to core investors, 40% to Nigerians, list it on the floor of Nigeria Stock Exchange and London Stock Exchange. Let me tell you, if you do this and inject the private sector efficiency, just like we have in Petrobras and Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, in the next 1 year, you will see oil output go back to 2.8 million barrels a day. You will even see more drilling in a way that more explorations, in a way that we can ramp up our reserve from the current at 7.5 billion barrels to almost about 45-50 billion barrels. Okay. But the government of the day have refused to do the right thing. All right, because that place has become a cesspit of corruption and slush fund for them.
Yes, I just want to find out, so right now, what would be the economic impact of fully privatizing or selling the government-owned refineries as scrap, as some experts have suggested?
Yes, the economic impact would be we sell it off as scrap. Then we can enter, I've explained to you how we can enter into a special arrangement with the new buyers. To produce crude in Nigeria is about $31 per barrel. To refine crude, a barrel of crude is about $10 per barrel. There are about 159 liters of byproducts within a crude. Even if they are to put a margin of 30% on the under special arrangement, the SPV that is going to be PPP owned, and maybe add additional 24% for all the other operators, the depot owners, the truckers, and the downstream operators, those that will add the refineries, with a petroleum bulk purchasing company set up that will be owned by Dapman, Maman, and the other self-regulatory organizations to ensure that we don't kite the product outside Nigeria. If we do this, PMS, gas oil, aviation fuel within the local consumption market, irrespective of whatever happens in the market, will not be more than 600, 650 naira per liter, against the current 800 to 950 naira per liter that we are buying it. So it's a right step to take. But, and again, of course, to provide us with focus, energy efficiency, energy cost reduction. And if there's energy cost reduction, it will impact productivity on this economy. But those in Abuja know what they are doing. That is why every successive minister have always cornered the petroleum ministry. And those advising them will be advising them on the good parts, because there is no accountability, there is no problem. Go and look at Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas. Why is this so efficient? In fact, it's even been hampered because NNP is not able to provide them with enough natural gas feedstock to enable them ramp up capacity production to 100%. But under such arrangement now, all the value chain in the oil and gas sector, all the stream will become efficient. So Aliko is 110% spot on. We've been saying these things over the last 10 years. We've maintained this position. We were not the only country that produced crude oil. Brazil used to have the same problem. They have only about 15 billion barrels of crude, but they are more efficient. The petrol price today is valued at $171 billion. Annually, they generate almost about $121 billion revenue. They declare $36 billion profit, pay $6 billion dividend to Brazilian government for their 28% shareholding in the new petrol price, and then pay royalties of more than $45 billion to the Brazilian government. What is NNPC offering us? From 2015-2014, NNPC used to remit about $3.5 billion into the federal account that enables central bank to manage our forex volatility then. From 2015, when Buhari became president, till now, NNPC barely remits up to $1 billion. It has been a bazaar of criminality, a bazaar of looting, a bazaar of stealing, because they will not allow private sector efficiency to come in there.
Okay, Nemeka, thank you so much for your contributions on this particular discourse. We appreciate your time with us on the news.
Thank you very much. That's for having me.
All right, we go on another short break, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, Kenya's President William Ruto has approved a new chairperson and 6 commissioners to lead the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, restoring leadership to the electoral body after more than a year of vacancy. The appointments, confirmed in a legal notice, come ahead of the East African country's next generation election in 2027. The newly appointed officials are set to serve 4-year terms and are scheduled to be sworn in on Friday. The IEBC has lacked a full commission since 2023, following the expiry of previous members' terms and the suspension of 4 others in 2022 after they disputed Ruto's presidential victory. Legal challenges had delayed the appointment until the High Court cleared the process this week. Into sports now. Nigeria Super Falcons advanced to the 2025 Women's Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals after a 1-0 victory over Botswana in Casablanca. Chiwendu Ihezuo netted the winner in the 88th minute. Despite dominating possession, Nigeria struggled to break down Botswana's defense. With 6 points, Nigeria leads Group B and faces Algeria in their final group match on Sunday. Joining us now from Morocco is our sports correspondent, Onyechi Obaro. Onyechi, great to have you join us. Now, after yesterday's match, what's the general mood in the Super Falcons camp following the narrow win over Botswana?
Thank you, Blessings. After yesterday's match, what we could notice from the Super Falcons were an unsatisfied mood. They were not pretty happy that they could not even score more than 1 goal against Botswana. This is the same Botswana that lost against Algeria by 1 goal. And the Super Falcons could not break through their defense in the first 75 minutes of the encounter. It was a disappointing one, all to the saving grace of Chiwendu Ihezuo, who came in the second half just to make a difference for the Super Falcons. 9-time African champions could not string passes together, could not break the defense, could not even just collapse the defense of the Botswana side. That was disappointing. But the coach of the side says it's a work in progress, that they will take every game at a time. It's a good thing that that 1 goal could seal a qualification for them to the quarterfinal of the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations.
All right, thank you so much, Onyechi Obaro, for giving us the update from Morocco. We're looking forward to seeing how the rest of the game pans out. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, a recap of our top stories. Now, we mentioned that 1 year after Supreme Court ruling, local governments still await direct funding. We also told you Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission warns ballot box snatching will lead to by-election. And finally, we told you Kenya approves new officials to lead electoral body amid political tensions. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Go TV, channel 23, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Masugu.